Sheriff?
What the hell?
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down the PS5 games that ruled the gaming world in 2023. We're including exclusive and multi-platform titles that won both audience and critical acclaim. Number 10. Lies of P. In this action RPG, players step into the shoes of the robot puppet Pinocchio as he searches for his creator Geppetto amid a robot revolt. Players influence the game's ultimate outcome thanks to Pinocchio's ability to lie, which opens up multiple endings. As with other Souls-like titles, Lies of P is designed to be as difficult as possible. Despite the demanding learning curve, fans will find Krat an exhilarating place once accustomed to its threats. With formidable bosses and Pinocchio's unorthodox moveset to master, Lies of P keeps players on their toes throughout. Number 9. The Talos Principle 2.
You will stay here only for a little while. Soon, you will awaken in a new world.
The first Talos Principle captivated players with challenging puzzles and a fascinating philosophical narrative. Released in November, this sequel is a worthy successor packed with intriguing puzzle designs and thoughtful dialogue. Set in a future where androids populate the Earth, the Talos Principle 2 sees protagonist 1K unlocking the secrets of a mysterious megastructure. Each environment has its own theme, keeping the game fresh. A compelling narrative and complex moral dilemmas add weight to the gameplay, with the puzzles tying into the ultimate fate of the androids.
There was an ancient poet who put it best, I think. We must love one another, or die.
Number 8. Street Fighter VI.
Get into the ring!
No mercy for you.
Round 1.
After a somewhat lukewarm reception for Street Fighter V, Capcom roared back with the superior Street Fighter VI. While the previous installment made it easy to button mash, this entry's revamped control system goes in the opposite direction. Combos are key, and players can execute beautifully choreographed moves during battles, with characters' abilities bringing a strong creative aspect to strategy. The World Tour mode also adds a new element to the series, allowing players to journey through the Street Fighter world. Street Fighter VI succeeds thanks to a simple but fun gameplay style, which enables it to deliver the kind of high-impact action that fans love.
Honda wins!
Number 7. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Continuing the story of Cal Kestis from 2019's Fallen Order, Survivor sees the fugitive Jedi Knight embarking on another thrilling adventure across the galaxy. The sequel builds on everything that made the first game great, with more expansive maps, as well as more Force abilities and 5 different lightsaber styles. A much larger hub world filled with NPCs gives the game a more open-world feel. It's everything you could want from a Star Wars game, whether that's fast-paced lightsaber action or the exploration of far-flung worlds. While the PC version suffered performance issues, the PlayStation release was a much smoother experience. Overall, Survivor is a standout action-adventure game taking place in a fascinating period on the Star Wars timeline.
Pull up the Coco system. That's where you settle down.
Number 6. Dead Space. A decade since its last installment, the Dead Space series returned to form with a remake of the original game. While the general outline is the same, the remake does a better job of making protagonist Isaac Clarke a relatable hero. The environment is also more accessible in terms of exploration. Oh, and did we mention all the violence and gore that's even scarier this time around? 2023's Dead Space stays true to its horror roots, as players need constant vigilance to survive. The pulsating atmosphere and riveting combat are easy to get lost in. Thanks to the improvements in gameplay and story, both old and new fans have a fresh experience waiting aboard the terrifying USG Ishimura. Number 5. Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil remakes have largely been well received, and Resident Evil 4 pushes the envelope further. Leon S. Kennedy's mission to save the president's daughter is upgraded with revamped gameplay, a scarier atmosphere, and deeper characterization. The remake has the hero fighting for his life at every turn, eschewing the cheesier elements from the 2005 entry. The combat has also been improved with a surprising sense of realism, and the boss fights better highlight each villain's particular abilities. This is just what a remake should be, keeping what made the original game great and surpassing it in many ways.
coming.
Number 4. Final Fantasy XVI. Instead of following the usual RPG template, Final Fantasy XVI is a combat-heavy installment that takes a bold new direction. It's similar in gameplay to franchises like Devil May Cry, with an aesthetic akin to Game of Thrones. Don't expect to be sidetracked by filler quests. Final Fantasy XVI gets straight to business. Players take control of hero Clive Rosfield, who's on a quest for revenge as the nations of Valisthea go to war. The darker backdrop complements the heavier emphasis on aggressive gameplay. Released over 3 decades since the franchise began, Final Fantasy XVI is just the kind of reinvention the series needed. Number 3. Alan Wake 2.
He just disappeared?
2010's Alan Wake was a capable thriller, but devoted a fair amount of time to action sequences. Its long-awaited sequel has a slower, more suspenseful pace, fully embracing its horror themes. Split between characters Alan Wake and FBI agent Saga Anderson, the game plunges players into a dark world of supernatural horror. With limited supplies and defenses, every encounter with enemies is teeming with danger. Meanwhile, the Mind Place acts as a space to solve the game's clues. Alan Wake 2 is among the best that the survival horror genre has to offer, placing players in a haunting environment that's a treat to explore.
Such a dark place, am I trapped in here?
Number 2. Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Following its critically acclaimed predecessor, Spider-Man 2 is bigger, better, and bolder. The sequel has Peter Parker and Miles Morales as co-protagonists, fleshing out their stories side by side. As they face off against Kraven the Hunter and other villains, the Venom symbiote grants Peter new abilities, but also exerts a corrupting influence. The result is an action-packed, gripping story and new and exciting gameplay mechanics. Miles and Peter's unique movesets further diversify playthroughs, whether battling multiple enemies or engaging in boss fights. Spider-Man 2 successfully builds on the original's established formula, delivering entertainment on a larger scale. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Baldur's Gate 3.
Yes, you would say so. I know you're kind.
This might just be the most complete RPG ever created. Baldur's Gate 3 offers a world of almost endless possibilities, giving it incredible replay value. Despite the game's large cast, each character has distinct traits and backgrounds. Its Dungeons & Dragons roots come alive in a sprawling open world that runs deep with quests of all kinds. This is elevated further by the non-linear environment, where players can play any mission unburdened by the main story. Because of the multitude of classes at your disposal, each playthrough can be curated to your own preferences. Thanks to unparalleled levels of freedom and a quality-driven style of play, Baldur's Gate 3 is awe-inspiring from start to finish. Which PS5 game won you over in 2023? Let us know in the comments. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.